Hello, I'm Reverend Mark William Ennis, also known as Pastor Mark. I am interim pastor at this church, the Community Church of Glen Rock, and this is our continuing Community Church Conversations. And I have a great pleasure of introducing today our new property manager, Kris.
Hi, everybody.
Tell us, how in the world did a real estate agent want to have this position?
It just fell in line with what I do as far as working with vendors and buildings and people. It just really fit into my wheelhouse.
Interesting. Did you have a church background before you came here? Were you attracted to a church?
I haven't belonged to a church in quite a few years.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Okay. It sounds like you were originally part of a church, but then weren't. What happened?
uh, well, I guess like so many people, yeah, I kind of turned away. We had a life event. We had the tragic loss of my nephew.
Mm,
And I got a little angry and it just manifested into me putting some distance between my faith, to be honest.
okay. Is it God you were angry at? The church? Who were you angry at?
Oh, I was angry at God.
Angry at God.
For sure. For sure.
I understand. Some of my early life, I was very angry with God, and God had his finger on me anyway.
Yeah.
I suspect maybe God had his finger on you too, and still does.
Yeah.
Do you want to elaborate on that tragic event or not? Is that too
So,
difficult?
oh, it's fine. It's something I'm very open about. My nephew was 18 years old when he passed. He took his own life,
Mm,
and it it was and still is a very dark time for our family, and it's senseless, and there's just no reason for it, and yeah, it just was a catalyst to a lot of things. So
yes.
yeah,
Oh, that's horribly painful.
yeah.
I know my godfather killed himself. I blame myself to this day. And my sister died very quickly and unexpectedly, and I never had a chance to say goodbye to her.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
Prior to that, what church were you affiliated with?
Um, well, I was raised Roman Catholic, but that didn't speak to me as a
Mhm.
person. I had a lot of problem with all the uh, man-made rules, I guess you would say, that went along with it. Um, I actually found the Waldwick Methodist Church, and I fell in love with the community there, and I was a member there for years.
Mm-hmm. And then you fell away after your nephew's death?
Um, that was kind of like the hard cutoff. Like, as sometimes it's a little difficult with what I do to attend regularly on a Sunday. So I wasn't always the most, I don't know how to say it,
Faithful?
faithful in attending
Regular?
regular attendance because of just the nature of what I do.
Sure.
But as far as the belonging, that's when it dropped off. Yeah.
Uh, yes. Double whammy.
Yeah.
And yeah, one of my issues with churches is we don't accommodate people's schedules very well. We lock into Sunday morning's worship. And my mother, for example, couldn't attend twice a month. She was a nurse.
Yeah.
She had to do 2 weekends a month, and she couldn't go to church.
Yeah.
That's why we're starting a program in December, a 5 p.m. worship service on Sundays
Nice.
to accommodate sports schedules, to accommodate work schedules.
Yeah.
And
And that's another thing, even though my not attending is not based on my schedule right now. Even if I was, like you said, having kids, my boys are 13 and 11. There's soccer, there's football, that you got to go here, you got to go there. So I think if your church offers the evening option, that'd be
mm,
very very good for, especially for people with, you know, teenagers and kids who have activities on the weekend, for sure.
Yes. Do you know the history of churches having like 10, 11 o'clock worship? Have any idea?
No, I don't.
Goes back to a rural culture. They had to push it late enough so the farmers could get the cows milked and get to church. That's where that came from. We're not in a rural culture anymore. Why do we only have worship on Sunday mornings?
Yeah.
It it keeps people out, and I'm all about pulling people in. That's what I'm about. Oh, you talked about not liking rules of your Catholic upbringing. Do you have any specifics on that? Were you hurt by that?
Um, no, um, my parents were divorced, and it was upsetting. It was upsetting to my mom that she wasn't able to receive communion,
Mm,
and there was issues. My niece, who's autistic, and we're going back years, decades now. She's 30 now, but when she was much younger, she wasn't in the church that she was a member of. They wouldn't. Well, it was overturned, but they didn't want to offer her communion. So it because she couldn't make the conscious decision to accept God and couldn't do the paperwork and the CCD work and all that kind of stuff.
mm,
So it's and again that was overturned but it just it's the man-made rules
mhm,
that get me like I think that's really what turned me away from that.
mhm.
Yeah.
I often think of the gospel story where religious rulers and self righteous people are always trying to push those people out.
Mm.
And Jesus is always saying, pull all these people in. And why don't we imitate Jesus more? Why don't we do that? And that's what I'm trying to do with this new service starting in December. My guess is you think you just applied for this position based on your schedule. I got a feeling God's hand was pushing you here because I understand what it's like to have a family member commit suicide. And I understand being angry with God. I spent that my early life being angry at God. I think God's pulled you here for a reason. And if you still have church hurt, my wife offers it absolutely free of charge Zoom meeting every week, My Sanctuary Healing, for those who've been hurt by the church. And that's a really growing group because there's a lot of folks who've been hurt by the church.
I'm sure. I'm sure.
So, yes, if you're interested, I'll give you contact information on that. And I offer our December worship service to you if you're interested and if that fits with your schedule. And hey, I'll be praying for you daily that you can heal up from some of these feelings of guilt and hurt.
Thank you, Pastor.
You're very welcome. I do want to say that Kris has only been here, what, a week now?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I've been here a month.
So we're learning together.
Exactly. We're going to be helping each other along this road, learning how to best serve God and this congregation in this place. And you're a joy to work with, I must tell you that.
Thank you.
And I got a little self interest here. A few years up the road, I may be retiring, and having lived in parsonages for 40 years, I don't know where I'm going to be living. So start bird dogging some places for me to live in so I'm not on the street after I retire, okay?
You're not allowed to retire.
I'm not allowed to retire?
No.
Oh,
no.
okay. Well, that's up to the church. How long they'll put up with me in their parsonage, right? Think about that, will you please?
Yeah, of course.
Any final words of greeting to our broad community here?
I'm just grateful to be here. I'm looking forward to meeting everybody and working with everybody. And any questions, if you want to stop by and say hello, I'm here to 12 most days. So
Wonderful. And you see the door over there?
yes.
Can you tell it's open?
Yes.
anytime that's open, you need to talk, you come on in here. Okay.
Thank you, Pastor. I appreciate that.
You're
Thank you.
very, very welcome. And that, my friends, concludes this edition of Community Church Conversations. And I hope you're watching this and liking it and sharing it. And please join us next week as well. God bless you from your friends at Community Church of Glen Rock.